Well, we're here. I wish I could see you guys in my office in a classroom situation, that sort of thing. So we're going to get a little closer, and I got a new toy. It's a remote camera that plugs right into my computer. So bear with me. Don't laugh at me too much, but you're you certainly can do whatever you like in the comfort of your own living space. But anyway, I'm going to use the board a little bit this week, and probably on into the future too, to a certain degree. We're going to be talking about some really exciting things about record keeping and that sort of thing. Sometimes that the reason should start over again, but the reason that we've come the way we've come, talking about the financial statements, is that we can get all wrapped up in the weeds, and it's really hard to learn. And at least that's just my point of view. And if you have a different one, I'm certainly willing to learn or to listen. But I wanted you to just get a feel for what those financial statements was, kind of an idea when we actually post a transaction, which one of those financial statements is affected, and that sort of thing. So that every time you post something, then it's not like, I don't know. Because they're all related, as we pointed out in the past. Okay? So that's why I don't start in the weeds. And I'm afraid, and I'm not trying to take my fellow colleagues down a path someplace that sometimes, like in accounting, we get so engrossed in the weeds that we don't actually see the big picture. And the big picture is the financial statements. That's what we want. That's the outcome. We want to be able to measure those. We want to see trends. We want to see ratios. We want to see how we perform against others versus how we perform from our last quarter to our last year to 5 years ago. So those are the comparisons. And then if we're doing all that kind of stuff, if we have to go out and finance anything and they require us to supply historical financial statements and pro forma type of financial statements, then it's just like a slam dunk. It's like I've got it already done, and those sort of things. And with the advent of computerized accounting, the reason that we introduced you to QuickBooks and gave you a 12-month subscription, by the way, hopefully you can use it. You might continue with your personal finances. I know you have to do some adapting in order to use a business type of a accounting system for your personal use, but maybe some of you, I do know that some of you already have businesses. If you have one cow, if you have a rental, or if you're renting anything, some of you are Uber drivers and that sort of thing. Some of you have a lawn care business, in the summertime or kind of in the shoulder seasons too. If you want to use that thing, use the heck out of it. And I'd be perfectly willing to help you set it up in a more intricate way than we went over. And I may ask you to do a few more things through the test drive and your QuickBooks system, just so you know how to use it in that kind of an area. There's a couple others out there. I've just been using QuickBooks for the last 30-some years, and since it started, actually. I started in Quicken and then went on to QuickBooks. Tried a couple other software systems that really didn't give us much information before that, but I haven't really looked around, to be honest with you. And there might be something fairly close or something even better out there in the future. So far, it's still doing everything I want it to do, so I don't see any real reason for my business to change. All right. This week, we're going to talk about physical inventories. I would like you to, if you haven't scheduled, if you are one of my advisees, to jump on my calendar. Don't jump on it physically. Get on there with your device and set up a time that we can spend 30 minutes together, and we can sort through when you're going to graduate, if you're going to graduate, and all those kinds of questions that you might be having at this point in your collegiate career. and I can help you with that. Okay, so if you're not one of my advisees, I can still help you if you want me to, but I would encourage you to get with your advisee or advisor in order to get that done. November 1st is the deadline, or is actually the start of registration. And once you get your schedule put together, then you jump on your computer on the 1st and get those classes selected. It's a first come, first served system, so you get the first shot at it. So the other thing is that there's some scholarship monies available for this coming spring, and I sure encourage you to apply. It's a one-page application. If you'd like, you can put me down as one of your references. I'd be happy to write your reference and throw it in there. It sends me an email and says, Joe Blow just would like to ask you to write a reference letter for him, and I submit it. It's a pretty easy ordeal. The payback on that sort of thing is tremendous. We have to hunt students to give out all the scholarships, and those of you that are online sometimes miss out on that because we really push that stuff in our classrooms and that sort of thing. But make sure you get on there and put in. I mean, don't say things like my grade point average isn't good enough, blah, blah, blah. There's always lots of excuses. We give money out to people that you wouldn't even imagine, whether they're deserving or not. When you're hunting them, then sometimes you just have to do that. We've got plenty of scholarship monies out there. And there's no reason for you to go any further in debt if that's the vehicle you're using to get through your college experience. Okay, so if you have any questions on that, give me a holler. Let's see here. I've got a couple of links. We had a guest speaker in the classroom version of this class come in and talk about the farm credit system. Cassandra is her name. I'll send all of her contact information so that you have it available to you, but they have some phenomenal internships available for students that are still in college to apprentice and intern through the summer and shoulder seasons if they need you. And if you shine just a little bit, they'll more than likely hire you because there's a big demand. If you're outside of Farm Credit Services of America, you can still contact Cassandra. Farm Credit is set up nationwide, and she'll put you in contact with somebody that's closer to your hometown. So don't bypass those kinds of opportunities. I encourage you to do that. So I'll bid you adieu, and if you'd like, you can get on to the studies area of this block for Farm and Ranch Records. Thank you.